Welcome everybody to the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. Today's pick a card reading, we're taking you to ancient Greece and we're looking at the oracular prophetic advice and wisdom that you can get from the Oracle of Delphi. So this is in honor of me just purchasing the Pythia Tarot, which is actually a Greek mythology based tarot deck that looks at different sort of Greek goddesses and gods as part of the major arcana and the court cards, and borrows heavily from Greek mythology and includes cards around the oracle. So the Oracle of Delphi were a group of women. I presume there was probably, as in Pythia, the key woman, the most senior or the most oracular of them, but they were people that had divinatory ability that people would go to ask for their prophecy, their divination, their wisdom and their counsel. So that's what we're going to be delving into today. So we're going to be asking Pythia, asking the Delphi Oracle, what areas of your life does she want to give you a prophecy on? What do you see coming and that you can influence? What is possibly not within your frame of reference or that you can't influence? And then we'll have a look through various things, how fate and your own skills are going to impact where you land with this particular prophecy. So to help with the choice of pile, and of course go to more than one reading if you wish, there's no reason why you couldn't have a number of prophecies across a number of different readings. I've actually chosen four, and deliberately chosen here, four of the sort of key major arcana representations of magical or spiritually advanced beings within the major arcana, so that you have a choice of those as a kind of overarching energy that you may want to connect to. I have no idea whether this will be very appropriate for what the Oracle of Delphi wants to say to you in this reading, or whether it's just a way for you to connect into an energy. So really just go with your intuition. But for pile number one, we have the Magician, which in this deck is represented by Hermes, the messenger of God, trade, travelers, and the messenger God, of trade, travelers, and thievery. Pile number two has the High Priestess, which is Persephone, the goddess of fertility and queen of the underworld. For pile number three, we have the Hierophant, here represented as Chiron, the great sage and the tutor of heroes, also the wounded healer often he's portrayed as. And lastly, for pile four, we have Temperance, which is represented by Iris, the goddess of the rainbows, the messenger goddess of the rainbow. So one of those gods or goddesses might call to you particularly, or as I say, the imagery might, or you may want to go to more than one reading. Whatever works for you is fine. Just want to say quickly, because of the nature of this reading, it's probably a good opportunity, or as good as any, to just sort of note, as I sometimes do, that in terms of divination and readings, private readings are available. If you would like one from me, you get it through my Etsy store. The link to the Etsy store is in the description box below and also on my About page for my channel. It's the only way to get a reading from me. So I do know that, scam artists do try to impersonate readers in the comments of their channel and other channels. So if you ever find yourself supposedly having me messaging you about a special message or an understanding I have for you, or would you like a reading, that's not me. I'll never do that. So do beware scam artists. And there's no expectation that you come to me for a reading. It's just if you'd like to, but you get to choose. So you come to the Etsy store if so. So with that said, the timestamps as always for the readings are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile number one. So we're going to start straight with tarot, because given that we're using a tarot that's based on the Oracle of Delphi, I don't think that there is a better way to articulate what the themes and ideas are for this than using the tarot itself. So we're first of all asking the Oracle of Delphi, what area or areas of life is she bringing you a prophecy on at this stage, pile one? The Sun, the Five of Wands reversed, the Five of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune reversed, the Lovers reversed, and Callisti, which is an additional card in this deck. And this is sort of like the golden apples of the Greek mythology. And so it's about discord, but it is given to that that the person who is the fairest in battle. Well, that's the way that I read this card. So I think there's, firstly, looking at that first, I think that the Oracle of Delphi is saying that you are in some form of competition that she wants to talk to you about. It's also shown, I think, with these 2 5s. But she is saying that you are the one who should be succeeding in this. And so I think she wants to talk to you about what energies may be around that get in the way of you having your just recognition or reward. Wheel of Fortune reverse suggests that it is possible that there may be things that are occurring that are not fair and are not just. And they seem to be happening around personal relationships in some way, possibly in competition with your own creativity, your message, what is special about you, what is that which you should be getting the golden apples of the sun, that you should be actually winning and so forth if you were in a fair battle. But she's saying that there is something being done in a situation for you where you are almost being isolated, or the resources you might need to fully achieve your potential are being held back from you. It's possible this could be about karma or fate. We will see more as we go along. At one portion in this, we'll be talking to the fates and asking for their input to this. But at this point, I feel it's about relationships that are not being true. Now, this could be love relationships where you should be the one who is chosen, but for some reason you are feeling you're not going to be chosen, or there is something that is being done to keep you separate from somebody. It could be around a creative approach where somebody might try and steal or take credit for something that you would do. It could even just be that you are in an environment here with the 5 of Wands reversed that is contentious and petty in many ways, and that divides people so that nobody wins and nobody gets something out of it. Like there may be one or more people in it who are kind of like, well, if I can't win the golden apples, nobody's going to. So I'm just going to put a spanner in the works. It isn't fair. So the first thing that the Oracle of Delphi is saying to you is that you are meant to have this recognition. You have a set of talent, skills, or your heart is open. You're very charismatic. The sun here is shown by Apollo, which is the god of light, truth, and prophecy, and is also the god of music and creativity. For many of you, I think this could be around competition for a loved one or to be seen in the world of love, because Apollo is also astrologically a very powerful energy around attraction, around charisma. So I feel like it's working on that level as well. So what the Oracle of Delphi wants to say to you is that there is one or more areas in your life where it is possible that your reward is being held away from you or apart from you by what seems to be engineered discord in some way. So let's get a little bit more information from her about, with this, what can you see coming and what can you influence around this particular area of your life? Knight of Wands, 4 of Cups reversed, 4 of Wands reversed. You're definitely in an environment where there's sort of petty team or other people in things around. You know this. The High Priestess, the Hermit reversed. Okay. So the things that you know and you can see about this situation you can influence. Firstly, you are highly creative in some way. This doesn't have to be classic creativity like singing or painting or whatever, but it could be. But there is definitely something about your path, life path, your passion, what you want to go after, what you can create, that is part of this. Now, the interesting thing with the Knights in Tarot, both the Knight of Wands and Knight of Swords, because they're the fastest moving knights. Generally speaking, one of the warnings that can be around that card is that you can act before you think. And it's interesting in this deck that the Knight of Wands is represented as Icarus. So Icarus was flying to the sun, and of course in the actual myth flew too close and the wings melted, and so he fell. So there may be something here where the Oracle is saying to you that you know the limits of your reach, that you are not going to be Icarus and go too close to the sun, but equally do not let other people who, with the 4 of Cups reversed here, are emotionally stuck, or 4 of Wands reversed here, are not good team players, hold you back from the right level, from where you could fly and realize your reward without being burnt by the sun. So this is a message around moderation. One of the things that you can do in this situation is have, where there is a lot of competition and egos and potentially duplicity around all of this, that's fairly petty. You can rise above it, but you don't have to prove so much that you rise to the point that you actually cruel your own son. Your own ambition doesn't sort of, in a sense, defeat you. So I think that the Oracle is telling you that, yes, there is a lot of petty stuff around this, whether it is about someone that you love with other people competing for their attention, whether it's creative, whether it's something in the workplace, whatever it is. But you don't have to push too far to make sure that the unfair thing doesn't occur. You just need to recognize that a lot of this is low-level energy. You are very psychically attuned. She says you have the connection, and you can go to the heights and also to the depths, because Icarus, when operating well, goes just below the sun, does not have the wings melt at all. And your direction here can help you with that. But the other thing that can help you is you can go to the depths, because Persephone is, in fact, the goddess of the underworld. She goes into the underworld for certain months of the year, and that's when winter occurs, and then she comes out and she's in life at other times. So there's a form of almost compromise about Persephone's journey. And it was a compromise that was bartered by her mother Demeter when she was married to the Lord of the Underworld, and she ate of the pomegranates. But there's also the wish for spring, so she is meant to come back for spring. So I think this is also saying, that in the midst of all of this, you can be moderate, but nevertheless clear in your abilities, what you bring to the table, and be able to compromise where it's necessary. You also know, with the Hermit reversed, that you cannot stay behind the scenes with this. If you don't come forward and stake your claim in whatever this is, whether it's around relationships, creativity, rewards and recognition, then you become hostage to the wheel not turning. You have Kronos here as the god of time and just rewards and things that have been built over time. You will not get your turn of the wheel if you are not prepared to come out and speak your truth. But it's all about moderation. And she says that that. This is why you are poised to win, as long as you don't let this stuff silence you at this point. So what don't you see, or what is out of your control around this? Page of Pentacles reversed. 10 of Pentacles reversed. 10 of Wands reversed. 3 of Cups reversed. King of Swords. Okay. There is something here. It's very interesting with Icarus as the Knight of Wands there, because Icarus, his father was a little bit more moderate and didn't burn his wings. Icarus went a bit too far, and we have the Page of Pentacles here reversed, and then we have the Knight of the 10 of Pentacles reversed. I feel for some of you there is a expectation from your family, or possibly an expectation around the workplace. It's one or other of those things when we're talking about Pentacles, which you are not going to necessarily be able to fully gain. This is why there is a compromise here. Whether it is fair or not, the Oracle is saying, there is enough other competition and obfuscation almost in this situation where you can get a reward, but it can't be everything that you would aim for. And it could even be that it can't be everything that at this point in time your family might have expected of you. It may also be that you have to take what you can from this and move on and relieve a burden with the 10 of Wands reversed. But you haven't realized that bit of it yet. You haven't realized, in a sense, the cost of the compromise, because there is going to be something that you're going to need to compromise around this. Now, the good thing in a way about the Page of Pentacles reversed here is the way that it's represented in this deck is as King Midas. And of course, Midas got too obsessed with money and material things. And so I think that this deck is showing that is a rather immature way of dealing with material outcomes. So this is saying that you are at least able to liberate yourself from the kind of more possessive and immature material ways of doing things. That this, even if you feel as though you're giving something up in some way or only getting part of what you aimed for, it actually will give you more liberation from the sort of more materially stuck measures and status. You'll be able to really start to come into your sun by understanding the various things that are of value and relieving a burden almost of ambition, because this definitely feels like you're very ambitious. Nothing wrong with that, but you're now hitting some of those points where you're being asked to look at that, and you can't stop that. That's going to happen. And there is going to be pushback from others. There is going to be people who will not be happy that you succeed at something. And that may be hurtful, but you need to move forward, because you're going to understand with the King of Swords that this was you coming to a more balanced and sensible way of winning. It's a way that is winning that is more intellectually smart and less about just the material outcomes. This is Odysseus. So this is someone who really knows how to win through their intellect. So there's something about understanding this situation and understanding the variables and coming to that compromise that's going to help you. So if it's about a love relationship, then your mind and your clarity and your way of being able to tell the story is going to win the day for you. But there may be a fallout where some friendships shift or something like that. If it's around a creative thing, then there's something about the way that you articulate the story that shows that you've compromised, but that you're still the person who is leading out. So certainly for you, Pile 1, the Oracle of Delphi is saying you are going to have a qualified victory, but you are going to learn from this about not everybody is happy for the victor. And some people will try and skew the results. And if you want a long-term victory where you can build from it, then compromise rather than vaunting ambition is going to be something that helps you. So, okay, let's see what the fates have to say. So what we're doing with this is we're using a fortune-based card deck, and we're asking for a card for each of Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. So that's the three fates of the Moirai from Greek and Roman legends. Clotho is called the spinner. So she's about beginnings in the material that you use to bring about this sort of outcome, which is a compromised victory that gives you the chance to fight on and win even more the next time. That's essentially what the Oracle of Delphi is talking about. Then Lachesis is about the luck and the progress of this that is going to come to your aid. And then Atropos shows where something needs to end, where the next phase comes in around this. So firstly, what does Clotho want to say to you about the beginnings of this, the materials of this for you? The chalice, rejuvenation and fulfillment. So she is saying that you have actually been building to this for quite a long time. This is why to some degree it's unfair. There is no doubt, the Oracle of Delphi is saying there is an unfair element to this. You will ultimately have a qualified victory, but it is unfair. But what Clotho is saying is if at the beginning of this, understanding this, you have a balanced emotional idea and you see that this prepares you to fight on for the next thing and that you are on the right path, then you become your own emotional fulfillment. And if some of this is about losing friendships or having fallouts on that sort of level, you need to have filled your own cup to move forward with this. This gives you the best chance. And there's an emotional call to this. But certainly it's saying you have to see the end goal as being something that will be fulfilling, even if it isn't exactly what you originally started with. Then Lachesis, let's ask how she says that luck and progress will operate as you work through this particular prophecy. The mystic circle, your abilities will be enhanced. So what Lachesis is saying, if you have taken the advice of Clotho and understood that this is the next phase and you will learn from this, and even reversals you will learn from, then out of this process that you go through where you learn to negotiate and you come towards your King of Swords strategic approach to things, your abilities are going to be enhanced. So even if you don't get everything, all the glittering prizes, even if Icarus has to trim his sails a little bit and not go all the way to the sun, you will be even better the next time round. So they're certainly saying if you can take this in good grace, it will work for you. So what will be the sign that this particular prophecy, this particular cycle has ended? What would Atropos say to you? The talisman, you are destined to succeed. Okay, so basically what they are saying is you will get, and I think the first round will be this qualified success. If you have worked out what would be enough, not everything, but what would be enough, your abilities will be enhanced by engaging in the debate, the battle, flying as high as you can, and you will succeed. And then that will in fact give you the signal of the next phase. So this is like a cycle of success. So I think that what the Oracle of Delphi is trying to say to you is that you are meant to be a successful person. You are meant to get to the sun, but without burning your wings. This was necessary to make sure you didn't burn your wings. It was also necessary to make sure that you did not put so much store by what's the material outcome, that you understood that being clear in your purpose is what really will bring your sun and your life path in. And suffering a few reversals or compromises on the way will ultimately make you stronger. So it's a very positive message. So let's see what you bring to the table in terms of sort of spiritual gifts and magical powers. So if this is what the Oracle is saying fate is bringing to you, then what are you bringing to the table, pile one? Master number 22, the architect, ruling planet Pluto. So you are a master at what you're doing. This is not about you not having the skills. This is about you understanding that you operate with an environment with other people and that they will come with their different things and with the competition and so forth. It's almost like you were maybe very precocious when you were young, or you've been incredibly quick at learning something and mastering it, and you think, well, that just means I should just be able to walk in and rule this thing. But the reality is you can't yet, because there are other people at varying levels and so forth. But you definitely do have the mastery. This is about now mastering how to interact with other people to bring this about. And clairvoyance. So you have the capacity to see clearly, to be able to see what the nuances are, read the body language, read a room, all of those kind of things. Let's also see what magic you bring to the table, pile one. Praise. Okay, so this is actually showing you part of how you can do this, to be honest. It is showing that whether you're trying to win a heart in amongst other people who are trying to win a heart, or whether it's that you're trying to win people to your side in a contested environment, your capacity to see and praise others and also to be grateful to the advice that you get from the spiritual is actually a power. People will see a great graciousness in that you are extremely good at what you do. They will want to celebrate you for that if you are also open to celebrating them. And sacrifice. There will be compromises. People will really see your capacity to understand and move through and make the compromises. And that will become a secret superpower of yours, actually. So the Oracle is very confident that you can master this, definitely. So let's see what the stars would tell you to achieve this victory. Sagittarius, so your philosophy, your freedom, maybe travel, adventure, learning, all these things will help you. And see this as learning and see this as a journey. You know, the outcome, you've got an outcome in mind at the moment and you're going to get most of it, but ultimately your outcome should be to be Icarus but not burn your wings. Like, how do you manage to do that? Jupiter, how do you expand? Luck is on your side. It is because you're prepared to do this. Fate would have a different viewpoint if you stubbornly just wanted to fly to the sun right now. It would say, fine, burn your wings. So there is a real kind of understanding on the part of the fates here that you are prepared to understand the generous aspect of growth as well as expansion itself. And water, So being able to flow, being able to move with the energies around you, being flexible and emotionally resonant to what's going on is going to be important to you. Okay, so what we also want is 3 wild cards, just energies or other things that are almost wild cards in your fortune that the Oracle can tell you about before we'll finish on seeing how you alchemize as a result of this prophecy. So the first wild card is strength. So you have great strength. This is the point. And it is part of your wild card. If you are up against these other people, they're much more weak energies, with the sort of 5s and the 4s and the 5s reversed and so forth. They're not strong energies. You have a strength. One of your wild cards, one of your aces up the sleeve is that you are a strong person. Therefore, you're able to see this through. The second wild card operating in this. Underworld, yes, your capacity to go to the underworld. So this is picking up that high priestess thing. You're probably very psychic. You probably have a natural communion actually with the Delphi oracles. They see in a sense someone with a similar capacity to them. Your capacity to go to the depths, your capacity to go beneath and see this is part of your understanding of what's going on. And your third wild card, withdrawal. So sometimes you'll need to withdraw. It's like, it's the ultimate military strategist. That's why you had the King of Swords there. That's what you're actually moving towards. Somebody who, in whatever this is, whatever the battle is, whatever you're competing in or trying to achieve, you will know the strategic retreat and when to do that. And I think that's the time when you'll go into the underworld to really understand something at depth. But you know that sometimes, just like Icarus in that situation has to stop short of getting to the sun, you will sometimes need to withdraw, reconsider, recalibrate, re-energize, get back to that chalice about what do you need to rejuvenate yourself to move forward. Okay, pile 1. So you're an interesting group of people. I think that there's a lot that you can do with this, but let's see what is the promise of what you can alchemize spiritually within yourself as a result of this prophecy from the Oracle of Delphi. Wise salt. Yeah, that makes sense. So wise salt is really a process. It is a bit like in the underworld. It's where things are sort of brought in and sort of processed through, and that which is not fitting and serving is let go of, and that which is going to serve you take forward. So this is exactly the process that the Oracle is talking to you about, that not everything in your original vision is going to withstand this process, but that's okay. The bits that really do matter, that will take you to that next level of wisdom with the King of Swords and take you to the next level of growth and achievement, you will take through this. This is a little bit of a tempering fire, I have to say. I do think that you are very, very clever, very talented, very masterful in something. This is the point where fate throws things at you that slow you down and confound you, not to make you lose, but to make you more able to win. So I hope that your visit to the Oracle has been helpful for you. I hope that you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So we're going to start with the tarot, because I think for a reading where we've got a deck where we're kind of communing directly with an oracle, that is probably as good a scene setting as anything else I could do in this reading. So we're going to start first with asking the Oracle of Delphi, what are the areas of your life that she wants to prophesy about for you at this point in time? And while I'm shuffling, can I just make an apology if you can hear a weird, low sort of rumbling in the background? There's sort of somebody going to tow something away outside, so hopefully it's not really disturbing me too much, but if it is, I apologise for that. Okay, so asking the Oracle, what area or areas of life in particular does she want to prophesy about for you at this point? Pile 2. Temperance reversed. 8 of Wands. 2 of Swords. 7 of Pentacles. Strength reversed. 5 of Wands. So she is saying there is something, going firstly to the 7 of Pentacles here, that you have been growing, and it is going to return on its investment. As long as you don't, well, there's 2 things that could get in the way of it returning on its investment, though I think she's ultimately saying it is going to. It's just how much will depend on a couple of things. One is that you have to make decisions when it's necessary and quickly. There will be some quick decisions that are coming that you need to make, and you're not going to feel with Temperance reverse that you have all the information that you need here, because Temperance is represented by Iris, the messenger goddess of the rainbow, the options and so forth. I feel with it reversed here, it's saying you won't know all the information about the options at play, but you are going to need to move quickly and positively in any case with the Eight of Wands and decide something. And you may not feel that you're in a strong position to do this. So there's two different strength cards in this deck, and one here is Circe. So Circe is in fact an enchantress. It's reversed here. So you may feel that Circe coming up in that way, that there is something that you're not seeing that could be a little bit not to be trusted, I would say. And the Oracle is saying to some degree you're right about that. There are some battles that are going, but they're relatively minor with the Five of Wands. They're kind of childish in a way, just like it looks like children battling here. So the Oracle is saying that don't get worried about that. Yes, there is something in this situation where the decision that you make to get the outcome that you want won't have everything you want, and there will be some competing forces that are not above, telling a few untruths. But she is saying that really, as long as you're prepared to just back yourself and move on, you will be able to keep moving forward. This is your strength. You actually understand that growth is such that you do have to make decisions sometimes early in the piece to plant the seeds, to get it to grow before you really know what kind of a tree you're going to grow or crop that you're going to grow. And that is ultimately, with patience and time, what brings that to you. But it's like there's an opportunity maybe to start to reap some harvest or some rewards, and you're just going to be worried about whether to do that because you're not sure if you're getting all the right information. And she's saying that's probably true, but don't let that slow you down. So given that, let's ask what you do see coming and what you can influence in this situation. So it looks like an investment opportunity or something in a business or a next step in a career. Doesn't feel particularly about relationship, I have to say. So we've got the Ten of Cups, we've got the Four of Swords reversed. We've got the Ten of Swords, we've got the Ace of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So having just said it doesn't feel like it's about relationships, with the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Cups, it does have something to do with your heart, something that's close to your heart. It could have flow-on effects to your family and those you love. So if this is like a business deal or a investment concern or something, what you can see is what those that you care most about value in this. And that's part of the information that counts here. You can also see in similar situations what hasn't worked with the Ten of Swords. You actually have some information by looking at history here and where we're bringing that up to the surface. So with the, as I say, the Four of Wands, but it's reversed, it's bringing something up to the surface from history. So there is something that you know from the past about this. And you also know what you care about emotionally or what those that are closest to you care about. And you can influence those things. You can't ultimately influence every material variable here because we have Artemis, the goddess of the hunt, wild animals and nature, as the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So you know that there are some parts of this scenario, particularly materially, that are not necessarily in your control. You also know that this choice somehow requires you to move away from something. So it's almost like two options, and which is going to be the growth option. So you can't keep both. So it's almost as though, however, the Oracle is tilting you towards understanding that when you're making that choice about which not to keep, which one brings you more into conflict with others, let that one go. Because there's something about the thing that's really going to work out for you, and you'll see it if you look into history, and what hasn't worked for others before is the thing that feels emotionally right to you. So you have a lot of information, she's saying. It may not be the final outcome, but you have enough information to do a very educated guess. So let's see what you don't know in this situation, or what you can't influence, one or other of those things. So we have the Nine of Wands. That's like, it almost looked like this was upright, but it's not. It's reversed. So Nine of Wands reversed. The Star reversed. The Nine of Pentacles reversed. The Two of Cups reversed. And the Queen of Swords. Okay. It looks to me like there is someone else who is important in this decision. Now, this could be someone in your family, someone that you love. It could be someone who there is no love lost with too, with the Two of Cups reversed potentially. But there is someone else. So it's like you are here, like the Queen of Pentacles reversed, like somebody who can make some material decisions about what to be loyal or not to be loyal to. But there is someone else who's coming up as the Queen of Swords. This is a bit like Athena, goddess of wisdom, and warfare and crafts. So there's a competitor by the looks of things in this, or somebody who has a different sort of set of information or a different set of values. So that's probably wherever this conflict is coming. So if you know that there is almost like in the choices that you're making, there's somebody who is going to have a very strong influence on one of the options, then possibly that helps you choose the other option. But there is that. You can't, whether you want to or not, you cannot have everything with the Star reversed here. There are some things that you need to sort of let go of. There is a choice so that you can move forward. But you're meant to understand this will actually make it easier for you to move forward and make other choices. So that is out of your control. What is also out of your control is, even though there may be some difficulties in relationships around some of this, you can't just operate on your own. Like, I think if you look back and see something that hasn't worked either for you or around this type of situation, you'll see it's where somebody was so totally on their own that they took too much on. Nine of Pentacles reversed says you need other people to really bring this about. And Nine of Wands reversed, it's a bit of a contentious environment to find who the right people are. But I feel like what she's saying in the end is that there's almost like maybe two groups of people, or two different people that you could work with, or two relationships potentially that you could choose from. And the one that is not, you don't feel is really controlling the outcome of the situation, even if you have to navigate a few things carefully with the other, it will tell you it's the right one to do. So this is definitely saying that you are going to grow something. Something is going to get bigger and grow and become a growing concern, but something else has to be left behind to let that happen. In both cases, other people are coming into play with this, but in one, you just maybe have to deal with them being a little bit more pessimistic and you're careful around it. In others, there's someone who's a direct competitor, and I think this will actually help you decide which way to go, because it feels like more manage this, not go head to head with this all the time. It's just going to sap your strength. Okay, so what we're going to do also is have a talk to the Greek goddesses of the fates, the Moirai. So that is Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. And so they were the weavers of fate. So Clotho looks at the beginnings and the material that is involved in this prophecy. Lachesis looks at luck and the progress as you go through this prophecy. And then Atropos shows where the ending is for the next step to come. So I think for you it might be a prophecy about this choice. So I think we're starting with what are the materials that are coming to bear around this choice. Then we'll look at what is the luck or fate or progress likely in making the choice, and then what is something that will tell you the choice is made. So firstly, from Clotho, what are the materials that you are dealing with in this? Siren, a temptation may lead you astray. Okay, so one of the things you have to understand is, there are other people associated with this. And there could be quite a lot of heart energy. I don't feel like it's about love, though. I mean, maybe it is. If it's about love, it's just a choice between two people that you might love. I mean, that is possible. But I feel like there's material things associated with this too, and more than one person on each side. But there is something in this whole choice about making sure that you know that you've looked into the past and understood what's going to reap a benefit for you, because otherwise you could get influenced into something that won't give you the rewards. So there's a warning. So Clotho is giving you a warning about not going for what seems like the easiest option. Go for the one that you think has a longer term outcome and less of a direct competition. Then lachesis, so the luck and progress as you go through this decision making. Serendipity, bright new prospects are on the horizon. This is saying to some degree you're going to succeed either way. I think it's really just a matter of knowing that if you are not drawn into something that's depleting some of your energy and your strength and your capacity to decide, then you're more likely to bring that luck in. So it's like, don't worry. Don't worry if you feel like you're going almost for the thing that looks less attractive. You're going to actually find luck works for you. And then the ending of this, when will you know the choice has been made or the next step is coming? The chimera, imagination clouds your judgment, probably right at the point where you start to second guess whether you should have gone with the other one. So there's something very tempting about both these things. There's something where you want both the things, whatever this is, both the options, both the jobs, both the business opportunities, maybe both the people if you're going out with different people. But you need to understand that there is one that has a growth potential more than the other, and you won't have all the information to make it. You really have to look into the past and decide what that tells you, and you need to work out where, even if there's difficult relationship energy on both sides, where do you get to lead out and where are you led? So just at the point where you start to second guess this is probably when you've made the right decision. Pile 2. It's a bit complicated, this. I hope it's resonating for you. So let's have a look, therefore, at what magic you bring to this. So we've had a look at the fates and we've had a look at the prophecy. So we're going to just sort of see what sort of like gifts and magic you can bring to getting the right outcome for you. Ascension Path 12 guides humanity towards multi-star systems. So you are meant to lead. I think that's one of the things this is saying. You might think there's actually another leader you could follow and you can still get a reward out of this, and that might be a bit easier, but you're actually meant to lead. You're not meant to follow a siren call. You're meant to be the one who leads. Also, Ascension Path 4, senses being realigned. Yeah, and because someone else wants to lead or someone else wants to compete with you, you need to kind of get back in touch with your senses, particularly your mind, I think. You know, looking, as I say, with those 10 of Swords, what didn't work in the past. Make some really clear understanding of the past, because you're not going to have enough information for the future. But you're meant to lead out, so you need to take action. You need to make a choice. What else can help you in terms of personal action? Ascension, yeah, oh wow. You're definitely meant to lead. For some of you, I mean, this feels very material, but for some of you, this is about, you know, spiritual development, spiritual businesses, spiritual approaches, all of those sorts of things. And that is a field where there is a lot of competition and a lot of siren calls that aren't quite what they seem. But you are meant to be leading out on this. You are in action, you know, just doing it seems to be what the Oracle and the Fates are saying to you. And banish. Yeah, banish that which is not real. Banish that which is the siren call. Understand you can't have both, but you can definitely have one, and you can lead others in that direction as well. Okay, so let's see how the stars help you, how they might guide you to making this right decision. 7th house. It's interesting. I keep feeling that this isn't about a relationship, but then things come up that suggest it could be for some of you. But I also think this could be going back to the core relationships that you have. For some of you, there might almost be a siren call to another sort of not necessarily to have a, you know, fling on the side or whatever, but another sort of connection, another direction or whatever. But there's very good established connections around you. I think that's what it's saying. Like, and that matters. The impact of your choices on them matter. That's part of the thing to give you a bit of a guidance. Sextile. This is going to be easier than you think. This is what it's saying. You just take the action and you can do it. And waning gibbous moon. So the waning gibbous moon is synthesizing and integrating lessons. This is this process. So this is saying, really, the siren call, that which is emotionally resonant to you is the stuff that you should move forward with, the good relationships, not just the siren call. Right from the outset, make sure that it's really going to connect with those that you care most about. Serendipity, luck is on your side with sextile. Things will be easier than you expect. and that at the point when you know that you can make the decision, you're synthesizing stuff so that you're not drawn into the direction of the chimera. I'm not feeling we need to look at the planets there. I think this is just meant to be picking up that serendipity. So I want to get you 3 wild cards talking about serendipity that will help you in this, in interpreting this prophecy. Because one of the things, and I suspect it's going to be the case for all of these, that there's going to be a little bit of mystery in the prophecy, because that's how the Oracle of Delphi worked. It was sort of like they gave you a prophecy and sometimes it took time to really understand what it was. So let's just see 3 wild cards that can also help you understand the message that the Oracle is bringing you. Get creative. Okay. So there is something creative in this, something that you will build and create that is what will be a return on investment. So if some of your choices around different sorts of like careers, look at one that is creative. Creativity works for you. Second wild card, the revolutionary. Yeah, you're meant to cause change, ascension, growth, but it will bring some pushback from those who are, enjoying the current situation. And they may try to beguile you back into the fold, but you are meant to sort of move something forward. Because what you're in at the moment is destabilized anyway. To get the return, you have to take something forward. And the third wild card, the warrior, yeah. You've got to be prepared. But you're not going to find the battles are as big as you think. It's almost like... It's almost like there's sort of somebody, it's a bit like dealing with the Wizard of Oz, actually, and let's use that as an analogy. Like the Wizard of Oz, everybody thought was incredibly powerful and incredibly scary and all of those sorts of things. But when it turned out and they pulled the curtain back, it turned out just to be a little man pulling sort of levers and so forth. So you're going to find when you actually are prepared to go in, open to change, open to take the battle, you won't find as much of a battle. Your sort of adversaries are not necessarily that strong. Okay, so to finish this off, we just want to see what you alchemize as a result of taking on the prophecy of the Oracle and taking her advice. Oh, wow. Antimony. Yeah, okay, so this very much fits with this. You are in a bit of a volatile situation in one way or another, whether it's volatile about the best business decision to make, volatile about relationships and friendships or family groups or whatever to be with, some sort of a battle going on there, volatile about, the change of the guard of particular kind of like social constructs or whatever it might be. And you are knowing it's out of balance, but you are needing to do something. This is the grey wolf, antimony. It's sort of mercurial. It's very fast moving, but it's volatile. It's a little bit hard to know whether it's going to sort of work well or negatively. So you have to handle with care. So there is something here about learning about how to handle complex situations and choices with care and to understand all the elements, like where people might be trying to influence you and so forth. But at the end of the day, this is a very powerful substance, a powerful substance for change moving forward. So again, it's like goes back to the Oracle saying, back yourself, just take a decision. Just move towards that which you would want to see grow. The rest will look after itself. So I hope that somewhat obscure Oracle message resonates for you, pile 2, and that it's helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So we're going to go straight to tarot, because I think when we're dealing with a tarot that is based on an oracle and on a system of oracular understanding. Sorry, I just dropped some cards, so I just had to bend over and get them. I think it's best just to go straight to the tarot and ask the Oracle to position what it is that she wants to say to you today. And I should say, just as a bit of a heads up, that this is now the third reading that I've done in this group, and much as the Oracle of Delphi is a little bit obscure, I'm finding these readings are a little bit obtuse or obscure. So they're part of the blessing and the message in this is a bit of a riddle for you to work out what the Oracle is trying to say to you. So hopefully she'll be a little bit clearer, but hopefully it will also resonate for you. So the first thing that we're asking the Oracle is to give you an idea about what area of your life or areas of your life she is bringing you a prophecy about, and a bit about what that prophecy is. So we have the Seven of Swords reversed, the Moon reversed, the Sun, oh, that's interesting, the Five of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords reversed. So I think there's two different things that could be going on here, and maybe both are for some of you, but for some this is about a relationship, I think. I think with the Moon and the Sun, so with the Moon reversed and the Sun, I feel like there could be, we're looking at maybe a divine counterpart type of situation, or certainly soul twin, that kind of energy, but there are things hidden, things yet to come out about it. So she may be bringing you part of the prophecy about that, but it's not entirely clear to you yet how this is going to play out. There's actually something going on, she's saying, with the Seven of Swords reversed that is, at best, it's bringing to the surface something that wasn't true. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean if you are in some sort of divine counterpart thing that you're going to find out that the person was being untrue, but there is something that has been a bit hidden, something that's been a bit sneaky. That's going to come to the surface. You're going to know about that. And it's going to mean that you've got a chance to make a clearer decision about whether this is the right person for you, whether you're around the right people to support that relationship and so forth. And you are trying to decide that between that and what it would be to be lonely. Now, I think she is suggesting that this is a good relationship. It's just a tricky situation with the Ace of Pentacles, because that's a blessing. That suggests that there is a capacity to grow and to build something real. It will take a bit of time with the Knight of Swords reversed. The Knight of Swords upright would make you sort of rush in, but this is, you'll be a little bit circumspect and careful because there's something you don't really understand. So for some of you, this is a prophecy about a relationship and whether it's the right one, so that you make the choice to grow something that's right for you and not just to not be alone. For others, this could be about some other aspect of your life, maybe your creativity or your life path, where you haven't had the support that you would have wanted to have. You haven't had the sort of companions, you haven't had the collaborators, but you've got a new idea and it's got some real prospects to move forward. You're just trying to navigate how to actually bring that into being in an environment that's not terribly clear or honest. So, it may be a business idea in an environment where you feel like there's a lot of nepotism and favoritism going on, or it could be a creative idea where you have to be careful and you have to let it build enough before you bring it out because someone might steal the creative idea. So I think it's talking about two different things here. You could be experiencing both at the same time, or it's one or the other. And I think she's talking about that for this collective. So there's two different types of people in the collective that are coming to this prophecy. So what we want to do is get her to tell you what you will see coming and what you actually have influence over in this situation. Because this might be a surprise to you. You might have thought everything was fine. You might have felt a little bit isolated, but thought, I've got a good idea and it's really going to work. So this might be a bit of a warning about the environment that you're in, or the relationship that you're in, or other people's influence on the relationship that you're in. So what do you see coming and what can you directly influence in this prophecy? Three of Cups reversed, Chariot reversed, Three of Wands reversed, Strength reversed, Page of Cups. Okay, so this is interesting, particularly given how some of these are actually portrayed. There is definitely a third party involved in either interpretation here. So there is either in like some sort of creative or work environment where you've got something to do, you've been a bit isolated by somebody who plays everybody off against the center, or who could steal something from you, an idea or whatever. This is why caution is advised, but there is still a great prospect to do something. But if it's around some sort of creative thing, somebody would not be happy for your success and you know it. Somebody is trying to halt your progress and you know it. Somebody has a completely different vision and you know it. Somebody who would like to sap your strength and you know it by isolating you. And with the Page of Cups here, you know that you have something beautiful that you can do, but you know you have to handle it very carefully, because the way the Page of Cups in this deck is portrayed is with Pandora. So she was very gifted, very talented. So that certainly says that if this is about that, you have great gifts, great talents, and this is a great idea. But she also loosed a lot into the world and had to hold hope in her jar. So there is a call for moderation here from the oracle. She's saying you do have it. You are very, very gifted. You should have the glittering prizes. But there is a lot in this environment that is an issue. Now, if this is around a relationship, there is a real prospect to this relationship. It's a genuine heart connection. But boy, is there a lot of competition and negative energy around it. Like it would feel more like a twin flame probably than anything, because there seems to be a lot of healing that needs to be gone through. And there is maybe at least one other, this could be a love triangle, quite definitely. You know this though. And you know there's something real here that you can influence by being a little bit wiser than Pandora about when and how you release your ideas. And you know that you have to be careful in this environment. So what either don't you know or can't you influence? Because the good news about this is the line where you know and you can influence it. So you can, the Oracle is definitely telling you, you can rise above those that would compete, those that would be illegitimate, those that would lie or cheat or steal. And you can keep this beautiful thing sacrosanct and build it. But what either you can't influence or you don't see at the moment? The Emperor, the Magician reversed, the Knight of Wands, the Six of Cups, the World reversed. Okay. The first thing that she's going to tell you that you can't control is how quickly you can resolve this and bring it to completion. So say this was a twin flame. You are not going to be in control of when it comes into union. You can only do what you can to protect it and wait till it comes through. If it is something in a career or creative, again, you can't dictate the exact time frame of this. You have the idea, you're going steadily and carefully, but you can't necessarily complete it on your own. There will be other factors that come into play. And one of the things that you have to be aware of, and you're probably not completely aware of, is that your mental way of looking at this, your intellect, is fairly circumspect and knows, like it is well planned, it doesn't rush in, but your creative energy just wants to rush in, because creative energy in this deck is the Knight of Wands is Icarus. And most people know the story of Icarus. He flew too close to the sun and then he burnt his wings. And it's interesting, this card and the sun has come out in another reading, so some of you may have gone to 2 readings, but it's a similar sort of message. You are the sun, you are able to do this, but this is about understanding not to get into the competition of this and fly too high before you're ready. There is a real importance about not completing this energy. Well, you can't make the decision about when to complete it, but holding it in a steady way until it's sorted itself out. And there is someone in a position of authority that you can't trust. So if you are signing contracts or whatever, get all the fine print checked. Or there is an influence on this, possibly even a parental influence from childhood that has kind of made it difficult for you to do that moderation on occasions. Like, so it could be that a parental influence said you must go after everything you want immediately, and yet this is saying be circumspect, take it carefully. You can only, you must succeed at all costs. There's some energy, and it's maybe come from childhood, or it may be that you're in a complex relationship that's going to take time and that you can't really control, but you've seen something in your childhood where it looked like, oh, well, this is all you need to do and this is the way to do it, but that's not the approach to take. That would be like a trick of the universe. So it's like, don't be overconfident. The Oracle would say it's there for you, but there's a lot of stuff to navigate, whether it's career or whether it's relationship. And a lot of this is going to be out of your control. All you can do is stay true to your heart and to the vision of it, to believe that this can be brought into balance, and not to let the competition trigger you into acting precipitously. So that's interesting. So let's also talk to the fates. So the Greek goddesses of fate were the 3 weavers or 3 spinners, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos. So Clotho talks about the fabric or the material of life. So in this situation, we're asking her for her thoughts on the kind of material underpinning of this energy that you need to know. Then Lachesis is about the luck and progress that you have as you go through this, because as I say, you can't control when it's going to come to a conclusion. There's a lot of promise here, but you're going to have to go through the process with faith and hope with Pandora rather than having all the answers. And then Atropos is where does this cycle end, where you can probably say, okay, now I know. Am I going to achieve the love union? Am I going to fully, be able to realize my sort of like creative or material dream, whatever this might be? So let's ask First Clotho for some advice around the materials, the beginnings of this for you. The spirit, unseen forces watch over you. So that's nice. She's saying to you that you are in a tricky situation, but there is something that is destined about this. You are meant to realize this, whether it's a great love, get the sun and the moon aligned, or whether it is a creative project or a bit of both. But spirit is behind you. So it's to give you that faith, to tell Pandora, yes, hope is not a chimera. Hope is the right thing to have, because if you have that, that helps you go through this situation. So then what does Lachesis give you around progress and luck in this prophecy? Seduction, passion, and romance, right? Well, certainly for anybody this is about love, you're going to enjoy yourself. There's not going to be any doubt that love is there. It's just whatever the other sort of situations are. But it's there also probably to make you realize that this is worth aiming for. So that's at least enjoyable. If it's around creative or work things, it may be a little bit of a warning about, if there's a relationship in the workplace, this workplace might be a bit tricky. Make sure it's kept very secret. Or don't be seduced by people who want to control you or take something from you. But it's mainly about passion and romance. So I think for the most part, there's other cards in this deck that are more about being beguiled. So I think overall it's saying that this can be enjoyable. And then Atropos, when will you know, since you're not really going to be able to control the final outcome of this, when will you know that your prophecy is being realized? The key, locked doors can now be opened. Okay, so something's going to, outside of your control, going to give you an in. So if it's a creative project, someone's going to make an offer. If it's a career thing, you're going to get a promotion. If it's love, it's going to be like the things that have stood in the way are going to sort of separate out, and you're going to be able to go through the door together. So you'll know, but you're not going to be able to be the one. Somebody's got to give you the key, literally. I mean, I'm literally getting, for some of you, it might be that a loved one, like a lover gives you the key to their house. You move in and you've then said, right, we're together regardless of everything. Like it could be as literal as that. Okay, let's look at what your magic and spiritual gifts you bring to bringing this prophecy into being. Because I think the prophecy is that it's going to work out. That's what it looks like. But you won't be the ultimate person to say when it has. And you're going to have to navigate quite a lot of duplicitous and strange energy till you get there. So, but you are being watched over while this is happening. So firstly, a couple of spiritual gifts or advice for you. Maternal side, spiritual gifts, wisdom, inheritance from the mother's line. So yeah, I think that maybe there might be something in the paternal line that is not useful for you. Maybe the energy from your maternal line might be the thing to connect into around this. And certainly, if you have spiritual gifts, they may come through the maternal line. I feel like for some of you, the expectations of your father may not be that helpful for this. You maybe need to connect in more with your mother. And Ascension Path 11, access to light-based technology. So there's something about Ascension moving to the next level. It's not surprising with Icarus there. You are meant to rise with this in some way. So, I mean, certainly in like twin flame relationships, people say that union actually helps on the Ascension path. And beyond that, creatively or something like that, you're meant to rise. You're meant to be seen. This is meant to bear fruit. So let's get another couple of sort of magical abilities around you. Attraction. Yeah, a lot of you, this is about relationship. The attraction's real. And you are a very attractive person, and you can attract good fortune to you. You're actually quite seductive as well, I think. So that's good. So even in the midst of all of this, you can use the law of attraction. You can draw to you what you want to draw to you. Don't lose faith in that. And yeah, believe. Yeah, just believe in it, because you're in an environment that might make it a little bit hard to believe, but your belief triggers your law of attraction, brings it in better. And it's more that for you than like action. Too much action could be a bit precipitous for you. It's sort of like you've got to plant the seed and then let circumstances work their way through. So let's see what the stars can suggest for you in terms of navigation and guidance over this prophecy, pile 3. Aries. Yeah, you are meant to be ambitious. You are meant to be passionate. You are meant to lead out in something, definitely. So you don't have to be shy about it, but I just think you have to be a little bit circumspect in this environment. Then we have Leo. Oh, yeah, you're definitely meant. Some of you are very creative. Some of you are very creative, and you are meant to really succeed and be seen. You could also be saying that you and, if it's a love, you and your soul twin might be both fire signs potentially, or have fire signs strongly in your chart. Waxing gibbous moon. So the waxing gibbous moon is about synthesizing and integrating lessons. So once you've been through this process, you will have learned something from it. So it's not just happening to you, it's happening for you, is effectively what this is saying. Okay. So 2 things to finish up this prophecy. Firstly, I want to get you some wild cards. 3 wild cards we're asking the Oracle of Delphi for. That could be extra information, clues, hints, things to watch out for, energies to connect to, wild cards that you can play as you work through this particular prophecy. Then we're going to ask how you alchemize the energy of the prophecy. So first wild card for you is patience. Okay, yeah. One of your strengths, you're being watched over, you do need to be patient. It is really important not to sort of be Icarus. It's really important to be circumspect and careful and patient. It will work out. And if you think about it, the golden promise of the Ace of Pentacles there. Ace is right at the beginning. It has to be given time to grow. And Pentacles are the slowest thing to grow. But nevertheless, they are the most secure and solid once they have grown. The second wild card for you. Get creative. Oh, yeah. You're definitely creative. So if you're wanting to win the heart of someone you love, write them some music, write them some poetry, paint them a picture, do something. And beyond that, if you're starting a business, be creative with it. If you are a creative artist or something, you're definitely on the right path. And the third wild card, withdraw. That's interesting. That came up for another one. So there is going to be times where you can't affect this, where all you can do is do the creation and then see how it grows, or start the relationship and allow the other person to meet you more than halfway. You have to be patient. You have to be creative in how you get through this. You might even have to be creative not to get frustrated with how patient you have to be. And sometimes you need to just withdraw and recoup your balance, because there is a lot of like kind of contentious energy around you. But these are your power cards. So don't forget them. So to finish off, we're just going to get an alchemy card to see what you alchemize as a result of this in you, or in the situation, or in your love match, whatever it might be, as a result of having this prophecy from the Oracle. Oh, how lovely. Spring. I think that's very simple and very obvious. You're bringing in a new beginning, a new spring, a new, like the harvest of summer, follows that. Like you're bringing in something new. It's the blossoming of love. It's, love is in the air, all of those sort of things. Something new, something exciting, something enlivening. So you bring in a season of growth and light and joy. So you're going through something difficult, and you need to have patience. You need to regroup sometimes, but your creative energy, your capacity to really draw in, just as long as you believe, keeping that hope, like Pandora, and just letting and waiting it out. Springtime is coming. You're coming out of the winter, definitely. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 4, to your reading. So we're starting off straight with the tarot here, because I think when we're using a tarot that is directly connected to the Oracle of Delphi, we'll let the Oracle speak quite directly through tarot. So we're going to firstly ask, what area or areas of life does she want to prophesy about for you? And I just want to sort of say, I said this in the last reading as well, that what I found with these readings, and it fits with communing with the Oracle of Delphi, is that on one level the readings are quite clear about the key themes, but on other levels there's almost a little bit of mystery and obfuscation in it. And I think that was true of the Oracle of Delphi in a way. People needed to be able to interpret for themselves her prophecies. So bear that in mind. You will probably need to do a little bit more heavy lifting than usual in trying to work out exactly how this connects. So we'll be looking at the themes and what we can get, but the Oracle will speak in the way the Oracle wants to speak. So we're asking her firstly, as I say, what area or areas of life does she want a prophecy about? We'll then look at what you can see coming and influence, and also what you don't see coming and you can't influence. So first, the overview of what is her prophecy about. Wow, straight out from the gate, the Tower, the Wheel of Fortune reversed, the Oracle itself. Okay, this is an additional card. This is significant, this one, I've got to say. The Empress reversed. Oh my goodness. Death. The Three of Pentacles. So there's only one minor arcana card in this. So this is big time. And I mean, we knew that straight out from the gate with the Tower. So this is serious. You guys have come to a serious prophecy. Something significant is about to shift in your life. You may feel it's frustrating. You may feel, she's saying, that it's the last thing you want to change, that it's unfair. You may feel you want to hold it back. But you shouldn't. For two reasons. Firstly, when the Tower comes up, and here it's portrayed as God, Poseidon, the god of the sea, and earthquakes, so, really tsunami type energy. Whenever the Tower comes up, the best way to deal with it is to go with the flow. It's when we resist the change that things get really difficult. So I think her first message to you is that you may try and resist it. You may go, what the hell is this? What the hell? Because you can see how frustrated she looks. Like, seriously? It's like she's looking up to the heavens and goes, seriously? You're sending me this? And you're feeling like it's the wrong turn of the wheel. But the thing about the Wheel of Fortune is that it is kind of almost ambivalent card, because even when it's upright, it can mean good fortune, or it could just mean good fortune for a time before it falls. And equally, when it's reversed, it could mean ill fortune, or it could mean ill fortune for a while till it turns. So this is partly about perspective, she's saying. She understands why you're going to find this very, very disturbing. So whether it's in love life, whether it's in career, whether it's in the sort of the foundations of your life, something is shifting, but moving with that energy will help. One of the things she's saying is that you will have choices you need to make, and you have to look at your own energy as you make those. You will want to help everyone else through this, but with the Empress reversed, you need to look at what your non-negotiables are and look at how you care for yourself. Very interesting that the Empress card in this deck is represented by Demeter or Demeter. So that's Persephone's mother. And what Demeter does when Persephone goes down to the underworld, so death here, though this is a different myth, which I'll talk about in a minute, being portrayed here. But when Persephone went down to there, the Empress, Demeter, had to negotiate to get her back. And she would have liked Persephone to be back full stop. But the deal that was struck is that she would spend 6 months in hell, in the underworld, and 6 months on Earth. And the 6 months on Earth would be spring and summer, and autumn and winter would be when she would go to the underworld. So this is saying, I think, what the Oracle is saying to you is there's a major change coming, and you are going to have to make some compromises. If you make the compromises, you can come to a good outcome with this. If you try to just resist it and stop it altogether, then that's going to be an issue for you. But if you make the compromises, you will get a good outcome. You will get to the Three of Pentacles here. You will be able to rebuild. So if, for instance, just as an example, if your workplace suddenly restructured and you lost a job, then you're likely, if you go with it, to get maybe, say, a redundancy package or something that gives you the buffer you need to then be able to make decisions for your next step. But you're not going to be able to necessarily just stay there all the way through. It's just an example. There could be any number of things, but there is a compromise being called upon for you to do a choice associated with that so that you can rebuild. But there is no stopping whatever this change is. Don't feel you can't barter to stop it altogether, but you can get a negotiated settlement. The other thing that I think is very interesting with the death card here, so this is about making a decision, and it is a fated decision. You don't have any, there's so much fate in this. Like, I think she would have gone, oh my goodness, I've really got a prophecy. This person is really at a very pivotal point. With the death card here, I believe because there is a man playing music here and a girl with Hades, I think this is Orpheus and Eurydice. And the story of Orpheus and Eurydice is that Eurydice was also kidnapped down into the underworld, and Orpheus, her husband, went down to save her, and he was a beautiful musician. And because he was a beautiful musician, Hades said, okay, you can take Eurydice back. But there was a condition. He had to have total faith that this could happen. So he could walk just ahead of her on the way out of the underworld, and as long as he did not look back to check, then he could take her out of the underworld. But in the myth, he lost his faith and he looked back to check and therefore lost Eurydice. So there is something here about you need to make a compromise and stick to it and have faith it's going to come out okay, because it will. The Oracle is telling you if you've made the compromise, you've moved with the change, you've made the compromise, you can turn this ill fortune into something that you're relatively happy with, that will get you the core thing that you want, because Orpheus wanted Eurydice, and you can be billed again. But you have to stay true to that. You have to kind of not try and negotiate it again, not second guess it, and not doubt it. So this is big, whatever this is, pile 4. But it really is, a lot of it is within your hands if you accept this shift. So talking about what's in your hands, let's ask what you see or know about this already and what you can directly influence yourself. Got the 8 of Pentacles reversed, the High Priestess reversed, the Sun reversed, the Magician, the 10 of Cups. Okay. So I think for many of you, this is around career or study or something like this. There is something big that's shifting. Like it could be that, you've studied certain things and you want to stick to it, but now the industry is shifting and you need to almost start again, unlearn and do something again. But you've got a foundation and you can do it. If you stick to what you're doing, you've got stuck. You haven't been able to shift and be flexible. With the 8 of Pentacles reversed, it's kind of unlearning things. It's finding new skills, all of that kind of stuff. You know that there's a certain amount of this that you don't know the reasoning for with the High Priestess reversed. You may hear about it. You may hear about it before it actually happens, just a step or two before it happens, if it's something happening in the workplace. But you'll know that there's something a bit hidden about it. And you'll know you can't have everything. See, the Sun reversed, Demeter, the Empress reversed. You know that you can have the sunshine and the growth to some degree, but not as much as you want. Having said that, you are more than capable of doing this with the Magician. You know you have the skills that you need. You know that you can negotiate and bargain. You know you can even have a few aces up your sleeve and use up a bit of the trickery energy of the Magician when it's necessary. As long as you don't, as I say, renege on the core thing, you can be quite dexterous in this and it's going to be okay. Like love relationships, happy families, happy outcomes. In the end it's going to be okay. So even though you're kind of like, what the hell, why is this happening? This is like the last thing I would have wanted at the moment. You know that you can negotiate something and it is in your control to get a good outcome. So that's the good news. But you do have to be flexible, not say sort of stuck in old patterns. So what don't you know or you don't actually have control over? Four of Swords reversed. Page of Wands reversed. Knight of Pentacles reversed. Strength reversed. 7 of Swords. Okay. There will be some parts in the negotiation you don't see coming and that you can't. This is why it's a compromise. Like, you're very clever. I think a lot of the time when things sort of happen, even if they're tumultuous, you can negotiate exactly what you want and come out the winner, maybe even come out better. But in this one, there is going to be some facts, some issues, some negotiations around this that you can't control, that you almost meet your match. If this was a negotiation around something in the workplace, you've met your match. They're not, I don't think they're bad. This is something that needs to happen, really. But there will be certain things you can't negotiate around, that there are non-negotiables. You also don't fully appreciate yet, and this is where you have to start to understand it, is that you are very clever, but there will be points where you don't have the power, you don't have the strength to do what you want. This is where you're going to have to know what your non-negotiables are, and you're going to have to be flexible on the rest. You can't stop the tower from happening. You kind of underestimate maybe a bit about how much you're going to have to come out and be seen to do this. You can't just sort of sit back and watch it happen. You're going to be part of this in some way. And with the Page of Wands reversed, I feel like there's another energy around this who is tilting for something out of it, like who wants their way. I don't think they're actually going to win per se, but they have enough of an impact for you to have to compromise. Now, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, it may require you to shift loyalties, or you might have no choice in that. This might be part of the decision. It could be a workplace sort of change where you have to choose somebody that you're going to support. You can't be neutral. You can't be sort of sitting to the side. And it's very interesting. The Knight of Pentacles in this deck is actually represented by Charon, the ferryman of the River Styx, the psychopomp that takes people to the underworld. So, and in this figure, you see almost like a ghost with a golden apple as a payment to be able to be taken to the underworld. So I feel as though the price of making this decision is a significant change in loyalties, in whatever that means. But you have to do it. You're not, and you will come out okay, but you are going to have to do it. So it's a powerful sort of reading, I must say. So let's sort of see what else we can get. Let's talk to the fates, because you've got the fates turning up here anyway, reversed. So this is, you would really like to know from the fates how not to have that turned round, and that partly the Oracle of Delphi has already told you, by not being just frustrated and trying to stop it, but by going with the flow. But each of the fates, the Morai, had a different purpose in weaving the web of life. So Clotho was about the materials in the beginning. So this would be her message for you about the beginning of this change process. Lachesis is about the luck and the progress as the weave is continued. So that's like, what's going to come to play? What's the process of this? And then Atropos is where it ends, where it's been resolved, where you, I think, are at this situation where you can start anew. So let's see what they have to advise about this process. So asking Clotho, what is the kind of material of this weave, of this particular prophecy? The Chimera, imagination clouds your judgment. Okay. So right from the outset, Clotho is saying what the Oracle is saying here. Your one Achilles heel in all of this is that you may think, because you're very clever and you've been able to sort of control and stop changes you didn't want before, that this is something you can stop. So do not go down that pathway, because it's that way kind of frustration and disaster lies. Knowing that this change is inevitable, that makes you realize and be a little bit more pragmatic about what you do and how you navigate this. Okay, so what would Lachesis say to you about how to have luck and progress this well for yourself? Fire, reckless actions lead to conflict. Yeah, again, reckless. They really just want you to know the only reason they've turned up upside down there is because your frustration at this could cloud your clear thinking. And this is, you're hitting an inevitable thing. There's a saying I remember reading somewhere. It's actually in an oracle book of some sort, but I can't remember what the oracle was. But it was actually quoting, I think it was an old Chinese quote, so I don't know the full derivation of it. But it says something like, destined enemies meet in narrow corridors. Don't really think this is talking about enemies, but I think what it does say is that points of destiny meet you in narrow corridors where you really don't have a lot of room to move. So don't use your firepower up on resistance. Look at how you can move through this. And then Atropos, how will you know that you're getting to this ending where, you've got the compromise and you can start to build towards something happier? The Seer, follow your intuition. So at that point, if you haven't crueled your own pitch, pile 4, by going in sort of really hard trying to stop it, if you've gone with the flow and you've kind of found the compromise, you'll know when you're at that point. You'll know when you've reached the negotiation point that is going to work for you. Okay, so let's see what some spiritual gifts you might have to help navigate this. So, life path 3, to communicate, a ruling planet Jupiter. So that gives you luck with Jupiter there, expansion. Ultimately, this will be okay. And your communication skills with the magician, very, very strong. Those are the things to rely on. You will be able to navigate this. You just have to navigate it towards a good, compromised, negotiated outcome. And YouTube platform. Okay, so this would suggest that there's something about getting your message out. So it may be saying that once you've gone through this change, there's a story you can tell, a narrative you can tell that helps you build something new. Or it could be that some of this is about a message and it needs to be a negotiation and some tussling about what that message is going to be. And it's not going to be entirely what you want, but you actually have some great communication skills. So that will be part of your bargaining around this. Or as I say, there's a story you can tell at the end of it. Okay, let's see also your magic energy. Kitchen magic. So I think that's the recipe. I don't think this is too big to be just about what you would normally think of kitchen magic about. But I think that the concept of kitchen magic, it's a bit like alchemy, and we're going to actually finish with an alchemy card. It's a bit like, what are the ingredients of this? And too much fire, too much sort of pepper in a soup is going to make it uneatable, so to speak. And if there are too many sort of like indistinct, not particularly matched ingredients, it's also going to be inedible. You've got to kind of get that kind of like, what is the balance? What is the thing that comes out of this that actually has the potential to grow and be positive? And moon magic. So that's definitely, maybe you connect to the cycles of the moon, pay attention to those sort of things, connect with the night energy. Again, the sort of like the underworld stuff. You have a connection to that. Pay attention to that. Pay attention to your intuition. You do a lot in your mind, I think, and a lot in your communication skills, and that's great. And it will really help you here because you do need that. But also pay attention to the signs that you get. Okay, so now we also want to have a look at what you can get in terms of navigation from the stars. Water. So the emotional side of things matters here. This is really saying get things in balance. You've got not too much fire, you've got your mercurial air, you've got water here, you've got like grounding things with the pentacles. I think this is all about the recipe. This is all about finding the recipe. That is what you can control. You can't control all the outcomes, but you can control the key ingredients that go into this. 9th house. So your philosophy, your learning, your skills, this is why there's a bit of unlearning. There's something else to learn out of this. There will be a growth opportunity for you eventually. And the South Node, yeah, there's something you're moving away from. So it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's just going to feel kind of at the time you didn't expect it or want it. And it's going to be a bit frustrating, but you are going to be able to move through it. So the other thing that I wanted to get you were 3 wild cards from the Oracle. So they're kind of energies or thoughts or approaches that she wants you to think about that would help you also, I think, get to this outcome that will be different to what you're expecting right now, but will still be something that has great growth potential for you. So the first wild card is the Void. So the good thing is that you are so comfortable in the underworld. You can get to those depths. There is going to be a period of time where you don't know what this is going to be. So it's almost go into the sense of that and accept that and go with the shift. Know that it could be massive change or it could only be minor, but like that's yet to be worked out. You have to be open to the limitlessness of it that allows you then to work out within that what would you not want to have and what would you definitely want to have. It's sort of like you have to look at everything in a way, almost objectively and without emotion, so that you can then work out what you want to bring out of the void. Get curious. Yeah, be curious about this. See it as something that's an opportunity, not something that's being done to you. Be curious in the void. There's things you can learn and take forward that you maybe wouldn't have even done if this didn't happen. And the universe. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is big. It's big spiritually. It's big creatively. It's big with your career. It's big in relationships. It's probably very big at getting you in touch with your own intuition, your moon magic, your sense of what's going on and all of that kind of thing and what your power is. There's something really big in this, but like your first response is going to be to resist it. That's why you've got to be curious. You've got to be prepared to go into the void. You've got to become the magician. You know, you really have all the skills to be the magician, but maybe this is the thing that makes you the magician. But part of what you have to understand is that there are other people involved and compromise, at least in this stage, is going to be necessary. Okay, so last but not least, let's see what you alchemize spiritually by this really massive transformation, I think, that is being prophesied for you here. Oil of vitriol. So this is going right back to the Tower moment. This is fate. This really is fate. And it's inevitable, and it's a sort of a process where the lion thrashes about a bit, you know, with change and with energy and with the unexpected, and it's frustrated. Like there's a real sense of frustration. This was right there from the beginning, but the point is that this is a process going into the void, into the all, that actually takes you to a much higher spiritual awareness, takes you to much more power, much more that you can grow, being the magician, all of that sort of thing. This card talks about in the situation that you're in, think about, are you the lion that wants to consume, or are you the golden globe here, or the apple maybe, that is being consumed? That's the thing to think about. And I think the answer to that is that you need to work out, and this is why we've got the kitchen magic as well, what you will consume and take with you from this, not to be consumed by it. Like the risk for you is if you go into frustration, you could be consumed by this whole thing and not get the outcome. Whereas if you are more like the lion and you consume and take what is right, the right ingredients, then you move forward much better. So there's huge potential in this, but it is going to make you go, oh my God, if you haven't already had that, it's coming. But don't worry when it does. Just remember this. Remember the oracle's prophecy to you, and that you can be the magician. You just need to be the one who determines what you will consume and what you won't moving forward. So big stuff, pile 4. I wish you the very best with it. I do think that you've got everything you need to do it really well, but you are going to probably at first feel a little bit blindsided by it, but you will quickly, I think, be able to move forward with this energy. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope that it's helpful. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I do think it's going to come out all right, but wow, it's a full-on reading. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.